Hello everyone, been a little while since my last video. I feel like I say that in every video. If you can hear my fan, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to deal with it because it's hot AF. I'm not talking to you, phone. Go away. So first off, yes, I do have sunburn, quite badly, because I'm an idiot, and I was like, I won't get sunburnt, you know, so I didn't bother digging out the sun cream, and then I proceeded to sit in the sun for 3 hours. I mean, I didn't realise it was 3 hours because I was just drawing, but the problem is when I'm drawing, I'm not paying attention to the time, and then I looked at the time, and it was like 4 o'clock, and I went outside just before 1, at the height of the sun, so not very good. Anyway, so yeah, I'm kind of burnt. I'm not burnt on my face though, because thankfully I had a hat on. If I had burnt my face, I would be very upset, but pretty much burnt my chest and my arms extremely bad. Look at the gap. Look at the gap where my chub is. Look at that. Looks like a mouth. Anyway, I'm gonna go have like a coldish bath soon and just like calm down. It doesn't hurt that much. It's just kind of feels like I'm still in the sun, but I'm not. It's a bit weird. Anyway, the prompt for the video today is I'm thinking a lot about how I respond to having the mickey taken out of me, or as my granddad puts it, having my leg pulled. Because I realise I really don't. 60% of the time, I don't like having my leg pulled, because I feel like I'm actually a fairly serious person. You know, I can have a laugh and, you know, be silly and positive and what have you most of the time, but I'm still quite serious underneath it all. So when I have my leg pulled, it triggers the bullying response, not as in I was bullied. So like I find it hard to stop that. I don't know. The reason it prompted is because I decided to cook for my granddad tonight. Just because I thought it would be nice to cook for him as well as myself, because I always actually do my own eggs, but I thought it would be nice to cook for him, so I cooked him chicken, roast potatoes and carrots, which is fairly simple, but I did like a marinade for the chicken and what have you. Anyway, he liked it, which was good. But as I was cooking, I was explaining what I was doing, because he's still learning to cook, because my grandma always cooked for him and her, and he has spent the last sort of 2 years on and off learning to cook, but he's still not, he doesn't quite understand like the reasoning behind things. So anyway, as I was doing it, I was explaining what I was doing and why I was doing it, and I think I said, I said something like, you know, that you put salt in the water when you're doing the potatoes to draw the starch out of the potatoes more, and he was like, yes, I know you put, he was like, you know, I know you put salt in with the potatoes, and I was like, don't, I'm trying to help, don't, why are you quipping at me? He's like, oh, I'm just pulling your leg. I'm like, I don't like it. It annoys me and it upsets me, because I don't know what you know, so I'm telling you things just in case you don't know them. Because if you tried the same recipe and you didn't put salt in, and maybe the potatoes didn't come out exactly the same, then you might think you did something wrong when you didn't. Anyway, so I got a bit shirty with that, and then when I took the potatoes out the water, you put them in the colander and you put your flavourings or whatever you want, and then you sort of shake them about to get them fluffy on the edges. And I was explaining why I was doing that, and again he went, yes, I know, because this is how you make roast potatoes. Like, I'm trying to help. Either you want my help or you don't be quippy at me. And it was like, I think you said something like, you've got to learn to take a joke, and it just triggered me because it's something my dad used to say to me when I was younger, and he'd take the mickey, and I'd take it seriously, whatever he said, and he'd tell me to lighten up and to take a joke, and I never found it funny because all it reminded me of is school, where people take the mickey, but they're being serious, they're bullying you, they're making fun of you. And I said to my granddad, I don't like it because the home is where I'm supposed to feel safe, and I don't feel safe when someone takes the mickey out of me or pulls on my leg. And he said, well, you know, I like to have a joke, and the point is I can't decide if I'm just too sensitive, but I don't know. It's weird because when we were sat eating dinner and he made a similar quippy sort of jokes / response, I joked back, and I sat with myself for a second, and I was trying to figure out why that didn't bother me, and I realised it's because I felt comfortable. I didn't feel any pressure. You know, I was cooking before, so when he made light of me trying to tell him cooking things and I got upset, I think that's understandable because I was in a pressure environment, even though I knew what I was doing. So when someone doesn't take me seriously when I'm trying to do something serious, I get upset. But sat down, eating tea, feeling very comfortable, I don't mind it. And the problem is I don't want people to feel they have to walk on eggshells around me, or they can't say this or they can't say that, but at the same time I am different. I have been through a lot and different things, so there should be some element of leeway for me because things are different for me. I don't know. This is another thing where I don't know if I'm just too much in my head. Am I just making something bigger than it is, or do I stand my ground and I say, no, I don't like this? Because it just makes me feel like I'm being laughed at again. Which, it felt like I was being laughed at when it was at school. When my dad was taking the mickey, I felt like I was being laughed at. There's a big difference between laughing with and laughing at. If someone's making a joke at your expense, you can laugh with them, but me personally, if something is at my expense, whether light-hearted or otherwise, I treat it the same. It makes me feel the same way. I don't like it. I've never have done. And I don't appreciate it when I'm told to just lighten up. If one person who's not my family member tells me to lighten up, I'm just going to get rid of them. No, that sounds harsh, but one of the things I've learned growing up and now in my adult life is you don't have to make friends with everyone. You know, as a kid you're told to get along with everyone, and that's because you spend most of your day with them at school. So unless someone is your co-worker, don't bother. If you know you're not going to get on with someone for whatever reason, even if they might be perfectly fine for someone else, you don't have to be their friend. So if one person who is just a friend tells me to calm down or to just, get on with it or whatever, I'm just going to be like, I will get on with it, away from you. I don't know, I'm being too mean. This is the problem with being aware of your past problems and being aware of the trauma you've been through, because you understand how it's affected you and you don't know when what's affecting you is now affecting people around you. And because I spent a long time ignoring what had happened to me because I didn't want anyone else to feel bad, and all that did is well, I alienated myself, really. I felt like no one knew the real me, or why I got upset at certain things, or why I didn't want to go certain places, because I kept it all internal to not hurt anyone else. So it's like, if my emotions and my trauma and everything that makes up my mental health is in a Pandora's box, it's not like I open the box all the way, it's like I crack the lid. That makes sense. So you let some of the demons out, so people can understand where you're from and what's happened to you, but you don't let all of them out, because if you let all of them out, all you do is bring everyone down around you. So it's a big responsibility. You're basically taking this massive thing and weighing up whether something you tell someone will make them feel better or worse. Like, I was sat with my granddad earlier, and when we were having dinner, and I was thinking to myself, do I tell him about Dan? Do I tell him about all the abuse I went through? Do I tell him about him yelling and shouting at me for getting things slightly wrong? Like, maybe I overcooked something or undercooked something, or maybe dinner wasn't ready at the right time, or maybe the washing wasn't done at the right time. Oh, I know it seems very surface level, but when you're screamed and shouted at constantly, when I didn't want to have sex and it happened anyway, do I tell him that? Because I don't want someone to think I think it's partly I don't want someone to feel pity for me, because I've told people that thing before and I get oh, that's so bad for you, and I'm like, don't pity me, because I feel like I'm not strong when someone pities me. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. Point is, how much do you let out? How much of everything you've been through do you let out? Because at what point are you just inflicting your trauma on someone else? Specifically, my ex, Dan. I don't want to give him the satisfaction to letting him know that, well, he won't know, but I don't want to give him the satisfaction that someone else is hurt by his actions. I don't know, it's all very confusing. But mental health aside, or that part of my mental health aside, I'm actually okay. Tentatively okay. I suppose if I can still smile, I'm doing okay. Video games and art are helping a lot. They're my two main coping mechanisms. Oh, I had a roast potato today with my tea, which I shouldn't have technically had, but I made them. I cooked them and they looked really good, so I had a little one. It's very good. Proud of myself. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll probably check in a couple of days. Stay safe and see you next time. Bye.